Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Where are you? Where am I? I know I exist somewhere around here. There I am. Hi, everyone. I'm Josh. And I am so close to being done with the building stage on our giant ruins diorama. Right now I'm examining for sort of final composition tweaks. Just noting things that aren't quite flowing perfectly. Weird, like, for instance, yesterday I added this chunk falling out of there because otherwise this whole shelf here was almost pristine and it just kind of like stuck out as weird in comparison to the rest of the composition. And now I'm going in, now that I've got like all the pieces assembled, I'm looking specifically at the composition of the rocks and how I want them to carry over, because the whole idea with this piece is that it's like a, carved ruins, as we see in Petra, as we see in this place in Turkey, where it's just a cliff face and they just went in and dug out the architecture, or dug into the rock to make the architecture. And so as erosion happens, as time takes place, things fall apart, shear, collapse, flake off, etc. And I want to make sure that the processes that are reflected on the face of the architecture match what you're seeing in the rock. That's how you bring the things together. So I made sure there was some variation in the rock. So if you look over here, this is like a different sort of texture treatment, let's just call it that. And over here, it's a lot more like stacked, a lot of smaller, chippier bits out of it. So while I have on this side a lot of these cracks traveling along the face of it are sort of longer, I'll just call them more elegant cracks, because they go along with the flatter, more large face surfaces. Over here, I want the decomposition of the rock to kind of go along with this more striated, stacked, and importantly, there's a lot more counter flow joins. You can see there's, I don't know how else to describe it. Anyway, I want to make sure that the rock that is close to this part on the architecture as it's falling apart, that it's falling apart in a similar way. Long way of saying that, I guess. But a lot of art is talking to yourself about your ideas, and as you say words out loud, they start to form into coherent thoughts. And it's okay that they don't start out that way. Yep, still got the 8-bit music going from last night. too lazy to change it. Another thing that I'm striving for is to reflect the kind of damage that's happening in the back here, projecting that forward onto the pillars. It's not 100% accurate. It's not like there would be a laser plane of destruction going through there, but generally as the rocks stack and stuff, they're going to be similar, which means the weak spots back here are going to usually be reflected as weak spots up here on these pillars. So since I've got this big chunk of damage back there, I'm thinking I want to reflect that in some way on this pillar here. And then I really was unhappy with how looks like someone just took an axe or a saw and just sawed into it there. It's okay to have straight lines every once in a while, but I think when there's two straight lines, that's when it starts to look particularly artificial. So yeah, those are the kinds of things that I'm looking at right now, and then hopefully I can address those and get the full frame in there as well, because I've got this sort of side rock, which is hard to see, you know, where, so they've got this carved architecture, this natural stone element, and then it goes back to carved over here. Some of this carving is trickier than others because I made an original sculpture of these pillars and I cast them in a variety of different resins, and some of them are harder to to damage than others. This being one of those. How's your day going so far, Indivies? Still playing with eyeballs and boxes? I'm gonna try nuclear option on this guy just to get us started. It's a lot easier to chip off of a gouge like this than it is to chip off of a flat surface. Alright, you had your chance to redeem yourself, 8-Bit Music, and you failed. We're going back to chill! Serenity now! Serenity now! Nope, sorry, no metal in here. No metal for you. I am a guest in the house of Reaper. And then the very spookiest thing of all, flick a piece of resin right into my eye. I don't know, I found that spooky. And I cannot figure out where this camera, it must be like one tiny little portion of it that's showing up. Now this is a slightly more, let's see, a less unhinged version of Josh is on the Reaper channel. I guess saying more hinged doesn't communicate much, but less unhinged does. Why is that? Aren't they the same thing? And also Fizz can't hurt us here. But don't worry, I can still hurt myself. And believe me, when I'm working with chisels, the chance is always high. Especially on ridiculously hard resin. On weird round angles like this. Oh my god, it's so scary. Yeah, Fizz has been hurting us every time he comes on. He does exclamation point metal. And then I have to growl, and that hurts my throat. Because as an amateur growler, I've never figured out how the professional growlers do it without hurting their throat. I once bought a DVD. Remember DVDs? That was a thing that you could buy, physical disc, called The Zen of Screaming. And it's a tutorial from a voice coach on how to do that kind of metal vocals without damaging your throat. Because, like, I can do a facsimile of it, sounds similar, but it's clearly not the same thing because, like, I can do it for maybe 10-15 minutes before I've absolutely destroyed my voice and it goes away for a couple days. Diaphragm control helps. Yes, that is one of them. It's interesting that I think I watched the DVD once and then realized it would take so much practice and time, and I just have other things in my life I need to do. But one of the interesting things was they shove a throat camera, down a person's throat while they're doing the different vocals and demonstrating how you push the air through or how you keep the muscles of your mouth and throat in such a way that they're not like rasping together in the way that actually, causes irritation and damage. That part still needs a little bit of work. Interviews, I can't just have the metal play without growling. That's ridiculous. That would be like playing Shakira and not shaking your booty. I say as someone who literally has no idea what songs Shakira has made. I'm sure if you played a song and said, this was made by Shakira, I'd be like, oh yeah, I recognize that. But I can't tell you what she actually has done. I assume it's booty shaking music. It's what my brain went to when I tried to think of an artist for whom you must shake your booty. Zambies, hey, thanks for the raid. What's up? Howdy, y'all. Let me show you what we're working on here. Gonna need to move you guys right over here. Okay, you're cool over there. All right, so this is a what we know call in the professional biz a diorama. I think it's called that because it sounds funny because it sounds like diarrhea, but at the last second you change it to diorama, and yeah, that's what's going on right now. I'm kind of in the final detail phase of it, where I'm trying to get all the little cracks and stuff to work together to play nicely. Okay, next up we've got this little guy, which I'm not quite happy with right now. Like I said, it looks like someone just took an axe and went chop. Not quite what stone really does, generally. All right, perfect. Let me just put my thumb right here so when it slips, I just literally cut my thumb off. That would be very entertaining, I think. This part that I'm chiseling through right now is cast resin. So I sculpted all of these pieces in individual chunks, like about that big. I think six dots wide, right? And then I had to cast 16 of them, I think. And so that is either freeform air, which I think this one is, or it's resin. And then it's glued to, you can see that little bit of pink back there, glued on top of XPS foam, which is what most of the diorama is built out of. I really wish I could cast XPS foam. That would make me really happy. Sadly, I cannot. That I know of. The closest I could come is this freeform air, which is a two-part kind of doughy epoxy clay. I don't mean it like 80s Valley Girl, adoy. What I mean is dough, like what you make bread out of, and then with a Y. But you can see it chisels better than the other stuff I was trying to chisel before, the resin. Now, in my reference, this isn't the best shot because it's, you know, kind of at a distance. But I do see areas where there's like very sharp cuts here and there. But they still, if you look close, they still have a little bit of wiggle to them, a little bit of jiggle. And I tried to put a little bit in here, but I think it needs just a little bit more. You know what I think is going on? Hold on. I think my girl cam is just zoomed in or something. Ah, yeah, that's what's going on. Hold on. Let me fix my girl cam. Boop. There we go. That's more reasonable. So I usually have this diorama disassembled. It comes apart into like 40 pieces because it's a lot easier to work on the pieces separately. But the downside to that is when you get it all together, sometimes you see it doesn't have the best flow to it. Things start to stand out. You see weird repetitions, etc. So I'm trying to work on it in situ right now to get these last details working the way I want. One thing I always want to do is have these like extra cracks sort of spider webbing off of damage, but shockingly, that is based on the reference that I've found, it's very rare. Like you see that in dioramas and wargaming and stuff all the time, and I guess set design, you know, on movies and TV shows, but it's not actually particularly accurate. Maybe for some kinds of stone, but I haven't been able to find really good reference of it. I guess more so when a thing is like impacted, like a, you know, say it's a castle wall and it's been barraged by catapults or whatever, then there's more of that spiderwebby stuff. But for the most part, when rock fractures, it's just like sort of in a direction of the sort of join lines of the stone. Now these ones, I do kind of feel like it's going to be really hard to cut these in with everything around it. I'm probably going to need to disassemble. Even though, yes, Johnny 5 is alive, and I know he wants no disassemble, I feel like I have to disassemble. Yeah, this was built in such a way that you put the shelves in first and then the rock pillars. And not surprisingly, I have to do more disassembly than I want to. Just think of it as an extended slow motion Transformers montage. I was going for just general weathering over time. This is from the game The Shadow of the Colossus, and one of the sort of thematic through lines for the aesthetics is that the colossi and the nature that you're going through is kind of in a pristine state. Like there's not a lot of indication of war or action or violence or anything like that. And I think the reason they do it that way is because it creates the best counterbalance narratively and thematically for you as the player to be the violence that is being inflicted in this otherwise pristine ecosystem. Spoiler alert, by the way, because you don't know that going into it. So yeah, it's the more gentle sands of time that have done the damage on all these ruins. Or in my case, a giant saw. One of those two things, sands of time or a giant saw. Trying to figure out if there's any possible angle I can get this at to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. Not from that way. Thanks, Ezid. Appreciate it. reburied my X-Acto knife. There it is. Now, when you're doing damage to artifacts like armor, weapons, and to an extent castle walls and stuff, having a slash that hits the high points, like I did here, works because, you know, a sword or axe or something went bam and did that, right? And so it's not going to get the deep parts. But this is a very different process of weathering. This is the rock joins that go deep, you know, that fill any rock. It's going to have its joints and weak spots. The cleavage is happening throughout the entire stone. Assuming that it's coming from stress. So pressure from above, gravity pushing the weight of the rocks above it down. Over time, if you weaken that rock in that way and it's been carved, those cracks are going to travel almost from the inside out. You're still going to have your chemical weathering from water, potentially wind as well. That's a mechanical weathering because wind weathers by blowing small particulates against a surface. And so those are different kinds of erosion patterns that you're going to see. But this particular thing that I'm going for is that the joints of the rocks themselves are under pressure, under stress, and so that's manifesting from inside outward. So these lines have to carry across the whole surface to read that way. And it's just harder to do. Something that just occurred to me as I'm talking about the different kinds of weathering that occur. Depending on the kind of rock, there could be a countervailing force, which would be depositional rock formation. So specifically with limestone and water, the water carries the limestone down, percolates through the rocks, depending on how aquaclutinous they are. No. Let's see. Aquaclude, aquatard, aquafast? What's that other one? The spongy rock. The rock that lets lots of bits come through of water. Anyway, limestone tends to do that, and then as the water travels through, there's chemical reactions. It brings very small particulates along with it and deposits them as it travels through the cracks and holes in the rock, and then drips out the bottom. So I do think I've seen reference of carved ruins that actually have stalactites. Yes, stalactites. From that sort of thing. And it makes me wonder, like, if that actually works like glue from the inside, sort of keeping limestone carved ruins together longer than other kinds of rock. For instance, a lot of the carved architecture that we see in the world is done in tuft, which is a pretty soft rock. It's just made by volcanic depositions of ash, more or less. And I think those kind of erode and fall apart the quickest. Anyway, take everything I say with a huge grain of salt, because I am an amateur geologist. I just am interested in the topic. I am not not in the field in any way. I'm interested in it so far as it helps me to understand and create better art. Trying to go around this line that I created with the saw and give additional little chips and wobbles to the line, so it's not just a super straight, unnatural line through there. Oh, you know what would be helpful right here? I'll tell you what would be helpful right here. This little guy. My vibro blade. Uh-oh. Why you no turn on? Oh. Because there's a switch on the other side of the room that I failed to turn on that turns on this switch. And Josh said, let there be slightly more light. And there was slightly more light. There we go. Okay, now I got a little vibrating blade. Can't see it vibrate because it's like microscopic vibrations. But it is enough to basically make it so I don't have to press as hard. What? What are you complaining about? I'm worried my little pluggy thing is very loosey-goosey. I wonder if it's actually broken. That would be bad since I paid, I want to say, hundreds of dollars for this thing. Yeah, I do think dentists use a some kind of sound vibratey thing as well for cleaning. Again, with the theme of all of these cracks carrying all the way through the rock. it's often very hard to tell the effect of what you've done until you get it all kind of re-base coated. So I just often go in and slap gray paint. Let's see if that's effective. Oh, actually, might as well throw some gray on there since I got it. So now we've got some of these lines carrying through from the rock there onto there. They're different tones, so it doesn't quite track right now, but that's just because I was doing some early paint tests on this side. But yeah, I definitely feel like it's closer to what I need, so that's cool. And I need to do pretty much the same thing right here. do that, I'm going to try to see what I can chop off of here. Looks like this one was cast in one of the easier to chisel through resins. That's nice. A little knife letting me know it's going to bed. You know, this was cast around a core that was just a black plastic tube. I'm trying to decide if I want to pierce through that and give it a more substantial gouge. You know what? I do. And it'll actually be easier than on some of the others because I have this pop-off lid. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, let's mark real quick exactly where it came from so we can put it back. want to actually pull this gash even further that way. I mean, I'm here. I got the whole thing torn apart. Might as well. The only other pillar that I have with a significant gash is this guy, and it's in that spot. So having another big one on another pillar on another floor, I think will help with the composition. And I'm really keen to carry the cracking through the different elements, the different compositional elements of the pillar. That's another one of those big, like, cues you into the fact that this is all carved out of one piece. It's not individual rocks that are stacked on top of each other like most stone-built architecture is. That was an unpleasant sound. Yeah. And actually I could save this piece, put something on the back of it, and kind of have it sitting on the floor next to it, like this whole, piece just kind of fell away. Where'd my knife go? And with the concept of carrying this through the different components. now that I have this core, I can dig into it as much as I want. Do you dig it? I dig it. Hot glue's doing a bad job. Bad job, hot glue. Try that again. Grayify it real quick. Man, this, I don't know what it is. Like, this is just hot glue impervious. I'm just gonna let this sit for a minute. Sit and think about what it's not done. All right, it looks like we're coming up on time, so let's go ahead and load up someone to raid. I have been Josh Foreman. I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a Twitch channel, I've got an Instagram, got all those things. Check them out. Click on all the links. But first, go say hi to our next wonderful artiste we are about to raid. No Reaper live? Oh no, only Reaper dead. Alright. Sky Daddy. Let's go check him out. See all y'all later. Bye, everyone.